the Port Harcourt Refinery by the end of the year, when it comes, on stream, we're producing about 4 to 16,000 barrels per day. Worry, maybe about February next year, we will produce about 75,000 barrels per day. And we believe that Kaduna will also come on by the end of next year. And the whole of this Port Harcourt Refinery will be fully rehabilitated by the end of next year. These things take time to do. But if we don't come to see here, we won't be able to know the extent of job that we're doing. And we believe that Nigerians, should expect, better supply of oil, better economy. To go to all the refineries in the country, beginning with Port Harcourt, we'll go to Warri, we'll go to Kaduna, and then we'll go to Dangote Refinery, where NNPC also has our own objective is to ensure that in the next few years, Nigeria stops fuel importation. And that is why we're here, to see the extent of work done, and we're satisfied with what we have seen here. From what we have seen here, Port Harcourt will come on board by the end of the year, Warri will start by the first quarter of next year, and then Kaduna will come on stream towards the end of next year.
All right, you're still listening to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kala Dakoru-Batibo. The voice you listened to not so long ago was that of the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Oil, Ainikin Lupogbiri, who reassured Nigerians that the refineries in the country will soon start working, and he gave the deadlines or the timelines for the various refineries to come on stream. Once again, I'm Kala Dakoru-Batibo and welcome. 11 minutes gone past the hour of 5, and I've got something on my mind I'd like to share with you, and I want to get your thoughts on it. I mean, I've listened for the better part of the show today. A lot of people have called in and said, work the refineries, oh, all the money is put it in the refineries. Okay, but I want you to listen and follow me on my thought patterns, and then tell me what you think, please. Now, I remember once upon a time I did tell you how much had been spent by several governments, right from Abacha to Obasanjo to Yaradua, Goodluck, and even the former president Muhammadu Buhari. Lots of monies, billions of dollars were put into repairs of the refineries. At the time the repairs or rehabilitation of the refinery started in Abacha's time, the refineries were working at 60% capacity, as at the time of Goodluck Jonathan, the refineries had stopped working. Now, as at Goodluck Jonathan's time, the refineries were rehabilitated and the refineries were said to be working around 50% capacity at the time. Remember, if you follow the news trend, you would remember that it was said to be working at 50% capacity at the time, and it was close to the election period, and because I do not know, maybe politics or something else, the government decided to an extent rely on the 50% capacity of the refineries at the time. I think it was even the Port Harcourt Refinery that was working at 50% capacity, and that made it shut down totally, because I've just done the calculations. 1 barrel per day is said to be approximately 159 liters. One barrel of crude oil, I beg your pardon, is said to be around 159 liters. So by the time you do the mathematics, let's listen to what the minister said on Friday. 60,000 capacity 1965 Port Harcourt Refinery will be what will come on stream, hopefully December. If you do the mathematics, it's somewhere within the region of 9.8 million liters, thereabouts. Let's approximate it to 10 million liters. And if you calculate how much they say we consume, which is around 45 million liters a day, and 354 million liters per day, because they are varying data as to how much we consume daily. Remember, they said it was 66 million liters, but we've seen other data reports that have shown that the consumption rate has reduced ever since subsidy was removed. So when you look at it, let's say 10 million liters per day still does not meet half, or does not come near what we consume on a daily basis. Although also the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekperikpe Ekpo, also spoke on how the government will utilize CNG, that's compressed natural gas, as an alternative to petrol, which may also further reduce how much petrol we consume on a daily. It still does not come near, and it means that we might be overworking the refinery while depending on possibly Dangote Refinery and importation of petrol to the country. It also did say that the Warri Refinery will work by February-March next year. And I'm looking at my notes from our earlier conversation, and the Warri Refinery has got the capacity of 125,000 barrels per day. If you do the math, it is somewhere around the region of 20 plus million liters. So if you add it to what Port Harcourt Refinery will be producing, the 1965 refinery, it's going to be a total of somewhere within the region of 30 plus million liters per day. Still does not meet our daily consumption. So you would need the entire Port Harcourt Refinery to be working, which will give you a total of 210,000 barrels per day, coupled with the 125,000 barrels per day from the Warri Refinery for us to be able to meet our consumption needs in the country. Then maybe we can then talk about the Kaduna Refinery for the sake of maybe exporting petrol to neighboring countries so as to make great revenue. And of course there's still the Dangote Refinery there. But so my first line of thought, should we not wait and ensure that all of the refineries, or at least 3 of the refineries, are working? I say 3 because for me the Port Harcourt Refinery has got two refineries, the one of 150,000 barrels per day capacity and the one of 60,000 barrels per day capacity. Should we not wait for the Port Harcourt Refinery in its entirety to become fixed before we start using? And then we now add it to the Warri Refinery so that we don't, one, overburden or overwhelm the refinery, so there is no breakdown of our refineries again. There's also the look at, privatizing the refineries. If, in my opinion, it was run by a private organization or the private sector, there is the possibility, 80% possibility, that the refineries will be working optimally because the private sector will be looking at making gains. However, with the report I did see on the Guardian newspaper yesterday, when I was doing the newspaper review or the headlines, I saw the report that said that the subcontractors are finding it difficult, to go ahead with fixing the refinery, the 60,000 barrels per day capacity refinery in Port Harcourt, because they did not do a proper research on the problems of the refinery, and some of the procurement processes were flawed because some of the pipelines that were brought in were not proper pipelines, were not fitting, and it may mean that we may not meet the deadline. Now, what I gleaned from that report is the possibility that they might do a rush work, just to meet the timelines or the deadlines, and it means that our refineries may fall back into a comatose situation if we are not careful. So what this conversation intends to achieve is to find a lasting solution to our refinery issues. So we don't go back to, because like I said, from reports, and it's something I've done a research on, we have been rehabilitating the refineries right from Abacha's era. Right from when, yes, the era where we had, buoyant revenues from oil, oil sales and all of that. And our refineries could not work at 100% capacity. So should we privatize it? I mean, looking at the electricity sector, I'm wondering if privatization has worked. I'm wondering also, could it have been worse if it was still in the hands of government? The Minister of Power was quoted as saying yesterday that the cabal is the reason why the power sector has not been able to get to the point. So I'm looking, what does the cabal mean in this situation? Could it be people who are importing generating sets? Could it be people who are, in the oil and gas sector to ensure that more people buy generating sets to consume more petrol and, more petroleum products like diesel as well? So I'm thinking, what does the cabal mean? What does the cabal mean in this situation? Could it also be that the cabal is affecting the refinery sector? Remember, I told you that we still have refineries or refinery workers who are being paid large sum of money as salaries, and I'm wondering, what are they being paid for when refineries are not working? So I want to get your thoughts, and the question I'm asking is, how do we ensure that our refineries work, and not just work, but affect our economic situation in the country? Because like I've said, if it's just the Port Harcourt Refinery that comes on stream by December 2023, it will affect little the economic situation of our country. Coupled with Warri Refinery that is believed to come up in the month of February or maybe even March, it still will not solve our economic situation, because there's still with the importation of petrol. Yes, it may be able to reduce to an extent, not significantly, minimally, the price of petrol, but it still will not be able to solve the problem. And from the report, Kaduna will come on stream ending of 2024, same as the second phase of the Port Harcourt Refinery, the 150 capacity. So what that means is importation of petrol will carry on up until December 2024. So how do we hasten, the rehabilitation process? One, should we privatize? Should we not rush? Should we go back to subsidy? Should we look for other avenues of generating revenue other than oil? Because recent data and statistics show that we're still very much dependent on oil as revenue, and other sectors rarely or barely contributes to our revenue in the country, and we're still very much dependent on importation. So could we look at other sectors like ensuring local production, exploration of gold, like someone said not too long ago, and other resources that we have in the country? I really would like to get you towards so many talking angles to this very conversation. I've got a commercial coming up, but you know what? I'm still going to take your call. Anybody who calls in right now, this will be able to speak for about 3 minutes or thereabout. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. WhatsApp number to 0809 0306 What do you think about what I've just reeled out? Because it looks like when we put the deadline or the timeline for the refineries, okay, Port Harcourt is coming on stream with its 60,000 capacity, while the other phase of the Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream the ending of 2024. Are we not going to be pressuring the 60,000 barrels per day refinery? I mean, think of it from that angle. So if it's going to be pressure, there is the possibility it's going to collapse again. Remember, it was built in 1965. There's an angle to that, right? I just said I should share my thoughts with you, because a lot of you keep shouting, oh, let the refineries work. But I do think entirely, all 4 refineries will work 2024. So why don't we relax the pressure on local refining and look at alternatives? And what are the alternatives? And that's what I want to find out on the show. First, the commercial break. When we come back from the commercial break, we'll talk some more. Just stay tuned. about the refinery and, all the timelines. And I've been saying, maybe the timelines are a lot of pressure. Maybe the timelines are not what we need right now. What we need is to wait, be patient for the refineries, to all be working, and then we start utilizing it to be able to meet our consumption needs, which is, like I told you, pegged between 44 million liters a day and 54 liters a day. And so I'm asking, while we're waiting for all of it to come on stream, which, by the way, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil, did say, the rest will come on stream by December 2020, and the price of petrol between now and then. That's like 1 year and fueling vehicles, CNG, which, of course, the federal government, through the Minister of State for Petroleum, Gas, has promised that it will utilize. Should we also be looking at ensuring that we bring in private investors into the refinery sector, not just only Dangote? We could also propel Dangote to do as much as we can, but we could also look at all the, investors to come. See, this is a very critical conversation, because everybody will say, oh, let the refineries work. Let the refineries work. But I'm doing the mathematics now. 60,000. I mean, just take your phone like I'm taking mine. If you're watching on Facebook, you will see me. I've just carried my phone. Go to the calculator. Do 60,000 times 159, which is the approximation of a barrel to how many liters you get, and you will get 9,540,000 liters. Still not near how much we consume. If you add it to the 150,000 barrels per day from the Warri Refinery, Warri will give you 23,850,000. Still not near, or still near, but not completely eradicating our consumption needs. Because when you do the total, it's somewhere around the region of 34 plus million barrels, or million liters, I beg your pardon, per day. And so I'm asking, what do we do between now and 2024? Do we overwhelm the refineries? Because when you start using 60,000, 150, it now begins to overwork, still does not meet our consumption needs, and we still have to go importing, even if it's not as much as we would have. So do you think that's not a bad idea? Do you think that's a great one? Of course, there will be the Dangote's refinery, hopefully, who will supplement and be able to fill in the gap. So maybe that will work. But I'm of the opinion, maybe we should allow all refineries work, and then we get, because even the Dangote's refinery is taking time to come on stream. There's also to talk about more private players in the refinery sector. What do you think about all of this? Let's get your thoughts. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416. I've got a couple of messages, and this one says, what does it say? Okay, I think it's for the last conversation. Okay, it says it was agreed that oil subsidy was to go, but to be carried out after fixing our refineries, but the subsidy was removed without doing the appropriate thing. That is why it looks like our economy is complex to manage or understand. Nestle from Port Harcourt. But I've got Frank from Andoni. Yes, Frank, welcome. Let's hear your thoughts, please. Hello, Frank. Hello, Frank. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Canada. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Thank you for this information. It's really unfortunate that the kind of people we have in our government, they are not technocrats, they are not creative. They are just there to touch here. Personally, I knew that all the promises concerning the refinery, I know that the refinery is the economy. But I need to increase the economy. The kind of thing we are facing, we have in government. How honest the minister for state said that the refinery and promise December. The people will be suffering like until the people in government will sit down and think of diverting the economy. I think that will help us. So with the look of people in government now, something like that
All right.
So we need even try to not even be realistic. But that we are suffering. Canada.
All right, Frank, thank you very much. I've got to go to Lumba now. It's calling from Larry. Lumba, welcome.
I agree with you. Yeah. See, all this to make sense to those who want to work. In this case, all these things are not going to work. They will use that like you. That's what he told me. I take that statement. So all this one now is just to use that attention so that people will not be protesting in the streets. So when you are talking about counting all these things, listen all these things, you are listening that for yourself. Stop the refinery is a deliberate. It wasn't a pay. Deliberate. These men, they have shares all over the world for their own refinery. They didn't say that product to us. If our own begin to produce now,
but Lomba, the people in government were not in government when the refinery stopped working. Correct me if I'm wrong. APC was not in government.
But they're not new in government in Nigeria. All of them have been in government one time or the other. You count all of them. No one will have no workers in Nigeria before. So it's their will. It's the will that matter, not because of the rest. That refinery don't spoil. Jonathan do turn around before he leave office.
It was 50%. So that's what I'm saying. It was 50% capacity, and 50% capacity.
So
it was
all those turnarounds they have been doing. Why those turnaround? The one work. They just want to use it to confuse the people. The thing will not work. Right, this is the work. It's not going to reach 2-3 months. You will collapse again. They don't want to use it to that attention. So all these things, we understand the way they're going. Everybody go to school. When you go to school, you are not the only one in classroom.
All right, thank you, Lumba.
Many
I've got
people
to go now.
Lumba, you know what you know.
Thank you very much. I've got to go. Clinton calling from Bori. Clinton, welcome. What's on your mind, please?
Yeah, Kalada, good evening, Osmo.
Yeah, good evening.
This refinery problem, I've been saying that our problem, most of our problems in the country is a man-made problem.
That's true.
That we contribute a lot to this problem we have. Look, I did a research and I found out that our refineries have not been working for the past 20 years.
Okay.
And the government have done nothing.
Where did you get your statistics or data from? You know?
I checked an article, Akalada, online.
Because during Goodluck's time, we all saw in the news, it was working at 50% capacity. So I do not know.
But not optimally.
Not optimally, of course, not optimally.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
To get solution now. So the pressure is so much on this government. And this government is a government that listens. That's why you're seeing them making all these moves. So I think we are looking at alternatives where we can get these things fixed. And they talked about this compressed natural gas. I think this is it's not that common for now. But if we look at this way, we can actually reduce the pressure on PMS. Then power, that's electricity. It's bad that we don't have regular power supply in Nigeria. And look at that's the effect of privatization. And it has not worked in Nigeria, in my opinion. So if we are able to get constant power supply, it will also reduce the demand on the population. Then lastly, our modular refineries, we have to get license. They have to give license to those local refiners.
Okay.
So that it can also help the Port Harcourt Refinery when the refinery gets working.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got Obed standing by. Obed is calling from Port Harcourt. Obed, greetings to you.
Good evening, Kalada.
Yeah, good evening.
Kalada, I'm trying to get the picture you are painting because I think not to understand you.
Okay. Let me give this example now, Obed. LNG. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So LNG does not have the capacity to, or I don't know if it does, to meet our 100% gas consumption. I'm talking about cooking gas. So it is able to provide about 40%, and we get to import about 70%. Yet the importation of whatever percentage we bring into the country affects the pricing of the commodity called the cooking gas. So if it goes up in the international market, it goes up in Nigeria as well. And I've not used that as an example or as a reference point to the oil sector, where I've now said that if the Port Harcourt Refinery, the old one, the 1965 refinery, gets to come on stream 2023 December, it will only produce 60,000 barrels per day if it's working optimally. And what that means is basically a 9.5 plus million liters a day, which does not meet, once again, our daily consumption of petrol. Do you get the picture now?
And Canada, who told you that we consume 50 million barrels per day?
It's what the NNPC and the other oil petroleum bodies have said. I did not bring up the report.
The last time I checked, during the subsidy regime, Nigeria were exporting refined products to our nearby neighbor here.
Agreed.
So those are those included among the fuel that Nigeria consume a day. If I may ask.
No, it's not included. It's not included, Obed, because after subsidy was removed and a lot I'm going somewhere, Obed. Okay, during the time of subsidy, it was 66 million liters.
Yes, Canada agree with me. That's included. So are we doing that for Nigeria, or we are doing it for?
But Obed, you're not still getting my statistics now. No. Obed, calm down now. Obed, listen. Now, before the removal of subsidy, when it was taken to neighboring countries, it was said to be around 66 million liters a day. Now, different reports from different newspapers will tell you that it is somewhere between 44 million liters a day to 54 million liters a day, somewhere within that region. So it has come down. It might come down even more, but I don't think it will come down to 10 million liters per day. Only Port Harcourt will take more than 10 million liters per day. Well, I'm exaggerating, but
you see, why I asked you the question initially, you are trying to give impression that we shouldn't demand that refineries should fix.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, because you said you made mention of people are calling refineries to be fixed.
Okay.
So, we cannot overemphasize the importance of this refinery.
Okay.
Are we going to die if Nigeria, our refineries come to the stream, whereby we become exporter of these refined products?
But Obed, if you listen to me, this argument has gone on for too long. But if you listen to me, that was exactly my point. And I've said, if you listened, that we should have all refineries working so the refineries are not overwhelmed and it does not break down like we saw in the past. That's what I've said.
Good.
That's what I've said. You see, you didn't listen.
You understand? Good. The refinery should work. No,
Okay.
don't even give any excuse at all.
Okay.
The refinery should work.
All right,
You
then.
understand?
Okay.
That's what vibrant Nigeria is yearning for.
All right,
You
then.
understand?
Okay.
At least, Canada, it will reduce the surface of Nigeria. I must
Okay.
tell you.
All right, then.
That should be where we should be talking about.
All right, then.
Not giving excuses why the refinery should not work.
Okay.
Giving excuses why the refinery should not go to.
Obed, I think you didn't listen to the conversation. But thank you very much. I've got to go now. I've got to take other people's calls. Ogundu from HA is calling. Ogundu, welcome.
Canada, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
I've been on live since.
I'm sorry.
I running down.
Sorry about that. I had a very heated conversation there.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Hearing the conversation, my own is just to ask a question. To build a new refinery and to maintain the old one, which one the cost is higher and lower?
I've not necessarily done the mathematics. I've not thought about it from that perspective. But it's
even if you have not done that,
yeah,
you understand that to build new refinery will be more costly than to reactivate the old one.
In the long term, yeah, in the long term, yes, I agree.
Yes. So our leaders, they are very wicked. Let's see what the country is passing through in petroleum industry. You see that they are very, very wicked leaders.
All right, then.
Because last time I heard that a politician bought a car of 300 million naira.
He denied buying. He said it was.
Oh, he denied it.
He denied. He said it was the car from the office.
Our refinery, an individual built a refinery. Then
Nigeria is the only OPEC country that refineries are not working.
All right then.
Yeah, and Canada.
Oh, sorry about that. I kept you for so long. I'm sorry, really, Braid. But now to maybe I should say what I did say earlier. I did not say the refinery should not work. I've not even said I've not made excuses for the refineries not to work. I have simply referenced what the Minister of State, Heineken Lukpobri, did say, State for Petroleum Oil. He said that the Port Harcourt Refinery, it's the 1965 part of the refinery that will start working, which has a 60,000 barrels per day capacity. And I did the mathematics and I said it will give you about 9.5 plus million liters a day, which is not near our consumption rate. And if the refinery start working, there is the possibility that we might overwhelm the refinery, given we will still have to be importing, and then we might want to overutilize that refinery, which is what happened during the Goodluck's time, that we had a 50% working refinery and it collapsed all of a sudden. And I did argue that should we not wait for all of the refineries to come on stream so as to have a better efficiency, because all of them together would meet our daily consumption and even export. But then, according to the timeline, the refineries and the entire refineries will start working by December 2024. And I'm asking, between now and then, what can we do so that we are not heavily reliant on petrol and on the refinery, so our economy can boost? And I made several contributions. I talked about looking at other resources, extractive resources that we can focus on to help generate revenue, focusing on CNG, which is a compressed natural gas. I talked about several other things that we could do, because we've got other natural resources that could help us not rely entirely on petroleum products. But I've got Jude, and Jude is calling from Amuma.
Sorry, Canada.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, Heineken had better watch it very closely before he gives us a tan line. The Port Harcourt Refinery, we are told, will start full production by end of the year, so by December. And the other refinery said February.
Yeah, February 2024.
And even if both refineries in Nigeria start production, we may not be able to meet or to be self-sufficient in our needs of petroleum products.
Yeah.
But let me say this. You asked a question whether we can privatize the refineries in Nigeria.
Yeah, I did ask that question, yeah.
Yeah, you see, I have my doubts if investors will show interest in buying or taking over the refineries, because I know pretty well that the refineries, including these ones in Nigeria, were designed for a particular blend of crude.
Oh, okay.
Years back. So our refineries, the ones in Nigeria, were designed for a particular blend of crude. But with the innovation in the world, refineries now are designed to take any blend. So you can take any blend of crude and get refined anywhere. So the Port Harcourt Refinery, for an example, the equipment, for me, my understanding has become
I don't think Jude, I don't think I agree with your argument. I'm sorry, because the crude that you're talking about. Listen, the crude that we will be using for our refineries is the same crude that we've always used. It's gotten from Nigeria. We're not importing the crude.
Yes,
So,
I said invest. Yes, but you see, the equipment now, the refinery then was designed. If you get in the refinery in Nigeria, that means you can only take the Nigerian blend. No,
but that's what we're saying. So that's where we're going to get our crude from. We're not going to get our crude from outside.
Now listen, then the equipment, the stock, the refinery itself, the equipment, for you to get the equipment, you cannot go across the shelves to buy them.
Oh, I get you now. Yeah.
Then you have to. I call it. You have to fabricate. You have to fabricate the parts now.
Okay. Yeah.
Because all refineries around the globe, they can take any blend. But Nigerian refinery can only take the blend it is designed for.
All right, Jude, I've got to let you go. I get your point now. I think that's what the Guardian newspaper was trying to report yesterday when he talked about, defeating of certain equipment, bought by or imported by the subcontractors. Well, we've got to go for a commercial break. Remember, we'll continue this conversation in or during the open season. So you want to stay tuned to 92.3 Nigeria Info. I'll get your thoughts on this. We're talking about the refineries and the efficiency of the refineries and what we can do, to not entirely depend on the refineries so as not to crash them again. Like someone said, we have been rehabilitating the refineries for more than 20 years now. I could even go as far back as Abacha's period. But what do I know? All right, stay tuned. This is Hard Facts with yours truly, Kala Dakurubatu. I'll read your messages. Open season. Sorry about that.